Hello, folks. Lorenzo here with Eeloo Tylo, episode 30. And for this landmark episode, we have some good news and we have some bad news. And the good news is kind of implied. See, there's lots of episodes suddenly hitting the channel, which surely is good news to all the people in the world. The bad news is that this is because I'm spending my days drugged up on painkillers, recovering from my jaw surgery thing. And I've got a complication, and now there's an open channel to naked bone and nerve, which hurts. So they give me more painkillers, and now I'm tasked with rinsing the nerve hole with hydrogen peroxide lots of times daily, which is agony. I think I haven't dared do it yet. Took the painkillers first. I'm gonna do it after this video. So this is now procrastination and day filling. And an interesting tidbit is that hydrogen peroxide is also sometimes rocket fuel, so I get to slosh rocket fuel in my mouth to clean the nerve. I'm sure it's gonna hurt. But first, we're gonna play some KSP. I think that's a good medical decision. At least it's a good ethical decision. Now, what I did off screen is designed a Duna lander, Tiny Red Ike. It looks a lot like the Tiny Ike. I'm now wondering, did I actually properly design it? Because I did the simulation and then I wanted to add parachutes and RCSs. I don't think I did that. Because you see this medication has effects on me. Let's fix that, and then I'll get to the point of the episode, which is that we're going to do the most amount of time warping yet, because there are many problems and all of them will be solved with time, I think. Scrap. Yes. We get some money back, that is good. And we're gonna upgrade it. I'll pause the video for this because it's not interesting. Alright, that was fixed. And now what we're gonna do, I also tried to design a Eve lander, because I've accepted that contract as well, to explore Eve. We're gonna do all these things and leave stuff there to get some money and some science, because we need to upgrade this facility and then we'll be able to get the nice science things, and then of course we also need the science points, and that will lead to all the technology we need. Also, putting probes on these bodies will unlock them for simulation, which is nice, and it's also the reason that we're going to omit this Joule window, because if we want to shoot something to Joule in 328 days, well, maybe if these get here before this window, we can use the simulation window we get to actually design something useful, and then you'll figure out what I'm talking about if you haven't yet. So we're gonna fast forward time, KCT, that's the Kerbal construction time. The research will finish. This one gives us rover wheels. I'm not quite sure why I did that. Advanced fuel systems will give us larger fuel tanks. These things are less than fully interesting. What I decided I really want are larger fairing shrouds, which is this one, I think. No, this one. This one I really want. I could have gotten it, but I haven't. On the plus side, it's only 9 science points. We will get that at some point. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is that we have to pay attention to Heavy Lander, that's nearing the Ascension node, and we will happily proceed to do that. Now, the first thing is that we have to celebrate the construction of Tiny Red Ike. Well done, construction team. These two are standing by for the Duna launch window. Now, I could launch them now and put them in orbit, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to launch them when the time comes. Also because now we want to focus on time warping. God damn it. The window to Eve opens in a year. I hope to research the advanced fairing technology before that. And the reason I need the fairings is because I want to send a small airplane there to maneuver a little bit and land and just, play around a bit. And that kind of needs a fairing because airplanes are notoriously hard to launch bolted on top of a rocket because, they have aerodynamic forces and are a bitch about them. Anyway, 16 days. Is there a button to warp to this time? On alarm, kill warp. Yes, close alarm detail. So if I warp here, that should work, I think. Also, there's not really a reason why I shouldn't jump to the ship now. And also it's in 1 day, so jump to ship and restore target. Yeah, let's do that. Heavy lander. Was this going to Tylo? I think this was going to Tylo. Oh no, it was going to Eeloo. Oh yeah. We hadn't actually finished building the trajectory yet. So here we go, a maneuver node to Eeloo. Let's first eliminate our descending node, our inclination I should say. There we go, and now we can see about... Oh dear, it looks like this is all wrong. Or do we need to move it this way? How is this not turning out to be a proper launch window? Is it not a proper launch window? Maybe because it wasn't ever gonna be a home and trajectory. It was gonna be a fast one, and I didn't launch properly from the beginning. That could be it. Alright, I'm gonna fiddle with the node, see if I can make something happen, and stop the video until I figure something out. This is what I came up with. We have to lengthen our orbit, and we'll meet Eeloo late. And I'm not sure if this is because I horribly cocked up or because the game is just not showing me the first encounter. Because it should also be possible. Wait, what happens if I accelerate more and more and more? At some point I will probably make... I mean, if I go really fast, maybe I will be able to make it there like a little bit sooner. Maybe not this fast, but... maybe that's the problem I'm having. This is probably not the solution. What I was thinking is maybe I'm thinking the wrong way around. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to match... I want to meet Eeloo at my apoapsis, but I don't have to do that. I mean, if I accelerate a little more, this, I mean, target at closest approach will be there. So I need to go a little bit slower, and then a little bit more this way, and then a little bit more... wait, because I don't want to meet up there. I want to meet up on that other leg. Okay, I'm gonna puzzle more. Be back in a bit. There! I did it, sort of, in a two-way maneuver, and I think this could still be more efficient, but here we go. First we fix our inclination, that's relatively minor. And then here, further out, we do our let's meet Eeloo in another place burn, saving us 2 years, probably costing us more Delta V than we have. But this is a Delta V heavy ship, we should be able to try and do this. At least we should be able to try this. So let's... yeah, I can't steer. I have 2 more days to time warp first, and then we're gonna set up our second reminder. Let's see, that took me about half an hour of maneuver noding, and I'm not even sure it's an optimal solution. But we will, well, we will discover when we come to it. Alright, yeah, the alarm clock is doing its thing, telling me what I'm forgetting. Oh, another thing I forgot was to, well, notify people that... oh, never mind, that's not relevant to YouTube. Doesn't matter. Just been a dick to some people. Well, oops. My jaw hurts, that's my excuse. Oh, I shouldn't forget to go rinse with peroxide. I will do that after this burn. God, I'm scared for that. No problems admitting that. I don't want to put highly reactive rocket fuel. Okay, it is only 3%, but still, don't want to put highly reactive rocket fuel in an open wound. I'm really not looking forward to that one. Alright, I hope Eeloo is light because we'll be spending lots of Delta V getting there fast. But it may mean we'll actually be overtaking our first probe. I think it does mean that. That's nice. Also, I think I have been burning too much. Oh, I'm not. I thought I'd been burning too much rocket fuel, but the stage is gone. That's it. Let's separate that, leaving some interplanetary debris. Cool. This is already most of our landing stage, by the way. Let's light that up. This was meant for deceleration on Tylo, by the way, but well, we're not heading for Tylo, so we can spend most of it on interplanetary burns. Cool, let's add an alarm for that faraway maneuver node. Maneuver node Eeloo catcher. Boom. 300 days until that node. I think that means that we're now going to switch to probe Eeloo to do the correction burn for Tylo. Because of course the probe Eeloo is headed to Tylo. Let's see, let's do a quick inventory of the ship. Do we have power? We have power. Do you have some fuel? What's this? Oh, we built the ship. Cool. Jing jing jing. Blue line disco time. Is this maneuver node up? It is not. Dual periapsis. Then why is there a course correction happening in... Where is that maneuver node? Warp to maneuver node. Is that a plan? Okay, I'm gonna warp to the maneuver node. And this is probably just a planned node where I wanted to do a correction burn to get to Tylo. Yeah, we can do that. Fine. No problems there. This warping is taking a lot of time. I can start working on my node. Let's see, we'll get a dual periapsis that way. Let's focus on Joule. Let's actually target Tylo then. Where is my node? This is actually not half bad. Whoa! We get a Tylo encounter. But we're coming in from the wrong direction, I think. Yeah. If we get a Tylo encounter like this, well, at least let's time warp a bit and see if that is in fact the wrong direction to go. Yes, that is the wrong direction to arrive in. We need to arrive in the other direction, because otherwise our relative speeds will be far too high. It is also massively disco time. Yes, this is the proper direction to arrive in. No, it's still not. Do we need... I think we need one dab of time warp to just solidify this horrible line. No, we need to arrive... Oh, what? Yes, 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 we want it like that. And then we wanted to encounter Tylo over there. Jesus. Well, at least the moons are moving like clockwise from here, yes? Yeah, so we want to be coming in that way. Yeah, this is precisely what we want. I'm having trouble trusting myself at this point. Why did I just postpone, defer that judgment to my future self, which is now? This is a bad idea. But this will put our periapsis neatly at the orbital altitude of Tylo, roughly, which should allow us to get a nice intercept. and that made it vanish. Let's do it a little bit closer. No, this will suffice. This will suffice perfectly well. Cool. Let's now time warp forwards to that point 11 days in the future. Oh god, I didn't pay attention and almost died. Jesus, rocket science is hard sometimes. Cool, and then we get to do this again sometime for the backup probe final approach burn. I think that one was better on course, but you know, you never know. So that's 5 more minutes. Here we go. 1 minute and 50 seconds are overdue. That's not too bad of a problem. Full burn, yay. Oh, we're unlocking simulation bodies. By the dozen. By the dozen. Apparently we'll be headed there. Yeah, that's definitely something we can work with. And what shall we put as an alarm? I think it's gonna be the sphere of influence change. No sphere of influence found on current plan. Yes, this is the one. Probe Eeloo Jewel SOE. Cool, we are making progress. Let's switch to the backup probe. And with that switch, I'm gonna, before fixing up this approach burn. Oh god, before doing this, let's see what it looks like. No, the grunting and moaning will become apparent soon. Yeah, these maneuver nodes, they kinda got lost. Anyway, we will be doing the same trick here. Catching Jewel, hopefully without too much disco. But first I'm gonna go rinse out my mouth with rocket fuel. I'll be back after that. For you, 1 second later. Alright, that was weird. My tongue hurts, but my jaw nerve doesn't. Well, chalk it up to great painkillers. Yay. Still, it will probably start being horrible in a bit. I can't imagine this not doing anything. Alright, let's focus on Tylo. Set that as a target as well. Back to business. Let's make an encounter happen here. And this we want to... Yeah, we want to enter from this direction. No, we don't want to enter from this direction. Yeah, we want to have it like so. Oh, what the shizzles. Yeah, we want to have it like so. Oh, there's the pain. It just takes a bit. No, that was just finagle. Yay, Tylo periapsis, 270 days. That's wonderfully clean. 97 meters per second. Let's see, would we actually count as being in space high over the sun? Let's see if we can do a science reading from here. Yeah, 6 science points. Do we want to save it? Well, we have plenty of stuff going to Tylo. Boom. Transmitting it. Now this module of course has nothing else. It was launched way in the beginning of this space program. It has these experiment modules, solar panels and fuel. A lot of fuel? No, only a bit of fuel. Let's fast forward 19 days until we are actually going to perform that maneuver. And we're going to try and do that accurately, or at least I am going to try and do that accurately. See, more warp, 5 more days. You see, I timed that. Oh, and I think after this I'm going to go to bed. I feel woozy. Oh, maybe. Unless I can think of something else to do. No, we can get the... We can do the heavy lander course correction as well. And then... I can't end the episode after just a few course corrections. We have to get some kind of climax. So I'll think about how to fix that. I will. Alright, let's delete this. Yes, alright. 57 seconds. I'm too lazy for that. I'm gonna use time warp to get through it. Oh dear, hydrogen peroxide is foamy as fuck. Bet you didn't know that. Burn. Zoomp. Let's see, did we do it? Yeah, we did. Tylo periapse is 250 days. Let's add an alarm for that if we can. I don't think we can. Let's add an alarm for the sphere of influence change then. Cool. Get to Joule. Set new alarm. That will happen in 200 days. That's actually not that far from now. Okay, the next thing that will happen is the launch window for more stuff to Joule. We'll let that pass us by. So we have nothing we want to send at the moment. We're in fast forward mode. Heavy lander, Eeloo catcher. This is the interesting one. This is the one we started before. Let's jump the ship and restore maneuver node. I hope it's still there actually, because that was a pain to set up. It is still there. Wonderful. Look, that's 96 days to get there. Let's see. The next here, the backup probe gets to Joule. And then probe Eeloo Joule. That's all set. So after this, we get to launch stuff to Duna. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. First though, let's warp to this maneuver node. I'm gonna set a quick save so I can be slightly reckless with the warping. Let's see, we're at times 100,000. That's this game's maximum time warp level. Back when I had real solar system, I could warp it I think 10 million times, but not anymore. Let's see, we have 30 more days to go. We're really covering some distance here. Look how small that sun is. Isn't it wonderful? 9 more days to go. And then just 34 days to the Duna insertion window. So yeah, straight after this course correction, I'm going to put the Duna probes in orbit, and then the next episode we can go ahead and launch them. Actually, well, they will have been launched, but actually set them on their way. Cool, 20 more minutes to go until this massive maneuver node of 3 kilometers per second. Fortunately, we're way out far from the sun, so there's no real gravitational curvature to worry about. Everything will be fine. We're exploring new worlds. My god, we're doing so well. Alright, this will probably take more than a minute. So we can feel free to start our burn to an indeterminate point in the sky. Now, full thrust enabled. And now we just have to wait it out. Yes, we are at this point. No SAS of course, so I'm gonna have to steer this manually. And you will see we're actually slowing down. We're wrenching our trajectory around because we want to meet Eeloo here somewhere. Wait a second. This maneuver node has been sabotaged. It doesn't... Whoa, what kind of maneuver node is this now then? This is the one we need. What? The hell? Alright, I'm gonna use that quick save. I'm calling it. That was weird. Cool, we have to do the time warp again. Let's actually have a look at this strange maneuver node. Yes, this is the maneuver node we want. Alright, I'm calling that that's Kerbal alarm clock's fault. Something really weird happened there. Alright, wait, I can hit this key. Warp to maneuver node. Thank you. So now this time I'm just going to do this node, nothing else. And thank God I looked at the screen before doing that entire thing. Coolio, just a day more. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. And these things I'm perfectly comfortable using quick saves for, because this is just silly. A mod that adds another maneuver node. I couldn't have known that. Excuses, excuses. Alright, here we go again. Small rocket thrust to align, and then full rocket thrust to go. And did I say already that I'm sincerely worrying about whether we have enough delta V or not? Because this is going to cost 3,000, then it's going to cost another few thousand at least to get into orbit around Eeloo. Because look, we will be arriving pretty much stationary relative to the sun. In fact, if we do nothing, we're going to crash into the sun. Now, orbital altitude at that altitude will orbital velocity at that altitude will not actually be that large. So I'm thinking maybe 3 kilometers per second, something like that. So we have to add that again, and then we'll be in orbit around Eeloo, of course. Then we have to land, and I don't know how massive Eeloo is, so we're gonna find out. 500 meters per second into the burn. I will cut the video and tell you what happened in 2.4 kilometers per second, because you know, it's not actually that interesting. And here we are, almost halfway through the burn, well, more than halfway, and we're about ready to ditch our outer fuel tanks. More interplanetary debris, guys. Here we go. Bye bye. So that's 2/3 of this stage gone, and well, about 2/3 of the Delta V gone as well, which leads me to believe that we will in fact make it on this stage. You know, those loser tanks haven't been. We're lighter now. Yes, 580 meters per second to go, and I think with about 80 meters per second to go, I'm going to switch to the map view and try and make the encounter happen. Let's go map view. We have an Eeloo encounter. So at the very least, we're getting a flyby. At the very least, we're getting a flyby. Great. Really pleased with that. That means we can now set an alarm for that. And that's probably going to be the first one. Heavy lander gets to Eeloo in 2 years and 300 days. This, let's see. Heavy lander gets to Eeloo. Eeloo crew window. Base lander. No, the base lander is gonna get there first. No, the base lander is going to get to its apoapsis first. That's not actually there yet. This one is probably gonna get here completely first. At least ahead of the Voodoo scanner, which was launched pretty inefficiently. Alright, let's launch a rocket. Let's do something else. We're gonna send, which one are we gonna deem more important? Which one do we want to fly first? Let's fly the Ike mission first, because I said so. Something happened. I accidentally hit the X key on KSP. No matter. Relaunched it, and we are now going to launch Tiny Ike. So let's roll that out. This of course takes 2 days, so I don't think it is actually a bad plan to put these probes in orbit. These 30 days that it's going to linger, well, 22 days by now that it's going to linger in orbit before setting off, won't be anything compared to the approximate year they'll spend in transit. So vessel rollout complete. Let's launch that. So this one is destined to Ike. Remember that. Ooh, it doesn't even have an arrow shell. Right, this rocket was inspired by craziness. This twin bore engine, this will easily get everything to orbit, but it would get everything decently en route without these 3 weird tanks on the side, but it would spend like most of the flight throttled down. So I figured let's add weight so that it can run full throttle, and then we have a little bit more delta V. So that's what these things are. But now they're not strutted to the thing properly, so if I recall correctly, this thing, look, it barely gets off the pad. If I recall correctly, this thing will now require careful steering up until at least 10-ish kilometers of altitude. All that notwithstanding, I'm still a huge fan of this twin-bore engine. It is powering all my missions in these last couple of episodes. By the way, a question. If you look at the top right of the screen, can you see like the Steam broadcasting overlay? It's not very visible now because there's the toolbar, but can you guys see that, or is that a overlay that isn't captured by Fraps? And this is a really lazy question because I'm acting like this is a live stream. I can just go into the recording and check, so don't even bother answering. I will just check it myself. I blame the meds. I'm also heading in the wrong direction here. I think it's still more economical. What the hell, we're gonna go for a retrograde orbit. We never do that. Let's do so now. This thing has enough delta V anyway. Let's actually bring up the fuel here. Yeah, we're gonna have to ditch those tanks soon. To do so, we'll cut the engine, ditch the tanks, and relight the engine a little bit. So we got us 9 free kilometers and about 250, well, more delta V, of course, because we punched through a lot of atmosphere already. It got us some free stuff. Wonderful. It may look like this thing is well steerable, and it is somewhat, but it also really isn't. I mean, I didn't decide that this was the inclination our orbit was gonna have. That sort of happened. Hey, I've got more thrust hidden in reserve. I'm at 17 kilometers. Drag shouldn't be that big of a problem now. Let's try and steer back to an equatorial orbit. We're only at 600 meters per second. Can probably correct that somewhat. That said, the boost is really building now, so yeah, we'll just end up where we'll end up. And this will maybe be a nice demonstration as how, apart from the Coriolis delta V's you get from launching west, east, screw it, launching to 90 degrees. That's east, I think. My brain doesn't work. Again, blame the painkillers. Anyway, how it doesn't matter whether you launch left or right. Yeah, left or right, that's good. You can still get to Duna or wherever you're going. You just have to launch on the appropriate part of your orbit, whichever way around that happens to be. That's a common misconception on the interwebs. At least it was common like years ago. I must admit I haven't really kept up to date with the rest of the community because, you know, time. Right, almost up in orbit. A glowing tail section of rockets. And we have a small poodle engine that will gently putter us out into orbit. Now I'm a little bit worried about whether I have enough solar panels. Oh, I'll show you the ship, by the way. Solar panels on the midsection. Lots of goo canisters for all the different spheres of influence this is going to pass through. And then a small lander that will sit on Ike with a materials pod and I think also a goo canister on top here. And of course a temperature instrument for making the repeatable measurements if and when those contracts arise. Our speed is fairly high. Our orbit is very peculiar, to say the least. But hey, we'll be able to get to Ike from here, no problem. Let's round off our orbit and then launch the other one. And then we'll be all set for next episode, where we just have to send these two on their merry way. Yes, did I bring RCS on this thing? No, I did not. Also, it comes to mind that launching this early gives the opportunity for rebuilding a failed rocket if it indeed fails. So that's good, it gives us a margin of error. We can still make the launch window even if things don't go exactly according to plan. That's a win. So we are now in orbit and we can leave this for whenever we need it. So let's head back to the Space Center and fast forward time until such time as the launch pad can be prepped for the next missions. That takes 8 days now? Jesus. I'm really happy that we're launching these things now. In the meantime, of course, all our hardware is steadily coasting closer to their destinations. Ooh, we got science points somehow. That means we are going to... What did I want? I decided I wanted this. Yeah, the larger arrow shell. Yeah, 160 science. Boom, getting that. See, progress is always getting made. 80 days. Doesn't matter. We have all the time in the world. Somewhat. Rolling out. 2 more days. Launch window opens in 2 weeks. 13 days. So, yeah, all I was saying about launching backup ships, no, not gonna happen because it could happen just a bit because it takes about 13 days to build one of these. So then it would be about 10 days late, which wouldn't be nice, but it would still be possible. So yeah, we can build a replacement if this one fails. Tiny Red Ike ship will look very familiar, except that this one does have a proper arrow shell, which I haven't quite worked out what the total effect of that is, but we'll see how that works. This is basically the same lander as the Ike lander, apart from the fact that it has a heat shield for arrow braking at Duna, and it has a RCS system for maintaining proper orientation during said arrow braking, and it has a set of parachutes to aid in the final stage of landing, basically. And this one I kind of really want to launch in the proper direction being right on the nav ball, 90 degrees, which I think corresponds to east. But the ship really doesn't agree with that so much, so I'm gonna settle for going straight up. Opening the fuel window here to see when we should ditch these outer tanks. I think once we ditch those, the thing will become more controllable. Let's see, ditching them and thrusting. Yo, those explosions happen not on the ship, doesn't count, doesn't matter anymore. Alright. Do we want to open up the arrow shell before this stage burns out? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking... Come on, crazy rocket, do what I tell you to, that's what I'm thinking. But doesn't really make good Capcom speech. By the way, my peroxided jaw is starting to hurt now. Maybe it's the talking, maybe it's the frustration, maybe it's the butt-clenching fear of spaceflight. I don't really have that, I have a love of spaceflight, I get those confused sometimes. Alright, pitching over more aggressively now. I think we could ditch the arrow shell, but I'm not gonna mess with the staging. That's just inviting disaster. Now this one will need less delta V than the Ike mission, because it can arrow brake at Duna. Still, both missions should have sufficient delta V available. Focusing on Tylo and Eeloo may obfuscate the fact, but actually the distances, the delta V's, and the difficulty, the overall general difficulty of KSP is pretty low. So we should be fine. We really should be fine with a Duna and an Ike lander, like so. 65 kilometers, overheating up the wazoo, but our fuel is exhausted and we can ditch everything. Boom. This is a really neat rocket, neat in the way that it doesn't litter. All these bits will fall back to the planet and all the other bits will only get ditched in interplanetary space where there are no janitors. Alright, let's cut the engine and establish orbit at the periapsis as we're wont to do. That should suffice. Oh, it's 500 meters per second more. That means this orbit isn't as high, which is more efficient, which is good. So let's finish off this orbit, and then I'll go clench my head and suffer the pain, really. Or eat more painkillers. Or both. Or alternatively either. You probably don't even care about that. Enough about my suffering and remedies for said suffering. Next episode, sending things to Duna. The transition to Duna takes about a year, if I recall, about 300 Kerbal days. That would mean we're gonna get the advanced aerodynamics complete first. That means we can start building an Eve ship. Let's see, that will, yeah, we're gonna be able to send a probe to Eve as well, because that research will finish 50 days before the Eve window opens, and that should be plenty of time to build a ship. And then the heavy lander. Oh, first the backup probe gets to Jool. Before then, I wonder if that will fall to Tylo in 40 days. It doesn't have to. Jool is big. Then stuff starts getting then stuff starts arriving at Tylo, and then years later stuff starts arriving at Eeloo. So we've got 3 things for Eeloo, and we've got 2 things for also 3 things for Jool. That's pretty good. And then we have 2 things for Duna and 1 for Eve. So that's many things en route. And as soon as we actually get something to touch those spheres of influences, we can start simulating landers and actually designing for effect. Of course, all these things will also give us money, which will allow us to unlock the higher science tiers, and they will also give us lots of science, and it should allow us to make massive strides in our space program, which is good. Life is good, except when it's not. Thanks for watching. See you next episode where we forge onwards. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.